share with you the tutorial on how I made my Prima Rose Quartz 5-page chunky mini album. So to get started, what we're going to need, or what we're going to do here, is pages 1, 3, and 5. They're the same. You know, they are designed the same. And then pages 2 and 4 are designed the same. So I'm just going to do one way to show you how to do 1, 3, and 5, and then I'm going to do one way to show you how to do 2 and 4. So for pages 1, 3, and 5, what you're going to need is you're going to take an 8.5 by 11. You're going to make it a 7 by 7. So this is what you have. And sorry if I get out of frame. Okay, but you can take this piece here and throw it away. This piece here, hang on to. Okay, you're going to take your 7 by 7. You're going to score it at a half, flip it over, score it at a half. Okay, so then you'll take, fold those down, burnish them. Okay, so the next thing you're going to need is an 8.5 by 11. You're going to make it a 6 by 7. Okay, so this is what you have. Okay, you can take this little piece here, throw it away, or put it in your scrap pile. You know, you can always make hinges with these little pieces. Whenever you have to make you know, your own little hinges, you can use that. But anyway, take this piece here and save it. Don't throw it away. Okay, so now you have a 6 by 7 and a 7 by 7. Okay, this is going to be your base for pages 1, 3, and 5. So what you're going to do, I'm going to use my ATG gun for this, but you can use score tape or glue, whatever you want to use. Add it on your little flat piece here, your little 1/2 inch flat. Take your 6 by 7, line it up as best as you can. Okay, press it down. You're going to do that on the opposite side as well. Take your glue or tape, fold it down. So now this is what you have. And this is going to be your base page. This is what we're going to work on. And you can see here that it's not, you know, cut even. So what you can do, you can just take it in your cutter and cut it. Use your scissors, cut it, whatever you want to do. Okay, so next what you need is you're going to need a 6 by 11. Okay, and this is what you have. 6 by 11. Take this piece here, you can put it, just hang on to it, because I think we're going to need it. So hang on to this piece. Okay, so then what you're going to do, on your 11-inch side, you're going to score it at 3.5 and 4. Okay, score it 3.5 and 4. What you're going to do is you're going to take this larger piece here, fold it over, burnish it down. Okay, open it back up, take your smaller piece, fold it in, burnish it down. Okay, so now this is what you have. Alright, so then you're going to take your base page and you're going to take, fold it up like this. Wait, fold it down like this where your score line is on the inside. Okay, you're going to take your glue or adhesive, whatever you're using, line it up on your right hand side, press it down. Okay, you'll burnish it down. That gives you a flap. Okay, and then here gives you a smaller flap. Okay, now we need to build pockets on this little small flap here. So what you'll need is the pieces I told you earlier not to throw away. You're going to need 2 of those that are going to measure 3 by 7. Okay, 7 by 3. Then you're going to take them, you're going to score them on 3 sides. Score a half here, rotate it, score a half, rotate, score a half. Okay, you're going to do that on both pieces. Score a half, rotate, score a half, rotate, score a half. Okay, then what you're going to do is you're going to notch out your little corners here. And this is what you have. Okay, so you can take these little pieces here, throw them away. You're going to do that on both pieces. And the reason why you notch them like this is because it folds better and easier. Okay, so now what you do is you just fold everything down. Fold and burnish, fold and burnish. And on mine, I use punches and dies for my pockets. So you can do that as well. I'm giving you the measurements before the punches. So like on mine, I used a Martha Stewart dolly punch across here. And I done that on both of them. So now what you do is you take your page, add your adhesive on all 3 sides of your little flaps. Okay, and be sure you don't go over this score line here on this little flap. Be sure you don't go over this little 3.5 inch score line. Okay, so you'll just place it down, don't go over the score line, and press, burnish. Okay, so now that gives you a pocket on this side. So now we need a pocket on the back side. So you do the same thing. Add your adhesive to all 3 sides. Be sure not to go over the score line here. Place it down. Press. Burnish. Okay? So now you have a pocket on both sides. Alright, so that's all for the front of page 1. So then you'll flip it over. I got this a little bit crooked here. Okay, so then you're going to flip it over, and for the back side, what you're going to need is an 8.5 by 11. You're going to make it 7.5 by 6. Okay, so this is what you have. Throw this piece away. Hang on to this piece. Okay, on your 7.5 by 6 piece, what you're going to do, you're going to take it on your 7.5 inch side, score it a half. Okay, fold that down, burnish it. Then what you're going to do, take your adhesive, I almost act crazy. Okay, and on your left side, okay, remember the flap is on the right side for the front, you flipped it over. So on your left side, you're going to place your flap. Okay, line it up, press down, burnish. Okay, so that gives you a flap. Okay, so now we need a pocket for here. And for your pocket, you're going to need a 3 by 7. Okay, and I used a die on mine. So what you'll do is you'll take glue on 3 sides. Okay, your 2 sides and your bottom. And you're going to take it in your book. Be sure not to go over this score line here. Okay, just line it up, press it down. Okay, and you're going to have glue on 3 sides, so you burnish it down, burnish down your glue. Okay, so that gives you your back flap. Okay, so for the front here, this is what we have. Okay, you're going to have your flip out with your little flap. Okay, and then you're going to flip it over. And you're going to have your flap with your pocket. Okay, and this is the die that I used. This I ordered it from HSN. It is a Cuttlebug border. Border is cut and embossed die. So that's what I used for my pockets. Okay, so that's page 1, 3, and 5. This here will make page 1, 3, and 5. Okay, now we're going to make pages 2 and 4. So what you're going to need, you're going to need an 8.5 by 11. You're going to cut it at 6 3/4 by 6. Okay, so this is what you have. can put this in your little trash or your little pile for scraps, whatever. Okay, this piece here, don't throw this away. Okay, so now what you need, put this piece here to the side. Now what you need is another 8.5 by 11. You're going to make it 7 by 6 3/4. Okay, so this is what you have. Okay, don't throw this piece away. Now you have a 7 by 6 3/4 and a 6 3/4 by 6. Now what you're going to do is on the 7-inch side, you're going to score at a half. Here, rotate it all the way around, score at a half. Okay, so you'll fold those down, burnish, fold it down, and burnish. Okay, you're going to add your adhesive. You're going to take your 6 3/4 by 6, place it down, try to line it up as best as you can, press it down. Okay, this is our base. This is what we're going to work on. Alright, so now what you need, you're going to take another 8.5 by 11. You're going to make it 6 by 8.5. Okay, so this is what you have. You have 8.5 by 6. Don't throw this away. Okay, so now what you do, you'll flip it over. On your 8.5-inch side, you're going to score at a half, score at 5 3/4. Okay, so you're going to fold this down, burnish, and then, okay, so your little flap is on the right hand side. So then you're going to take this piece here, you're going to fold it over. Okay, now what you need to do is put your decorative paper on here before you glue this down, because this is going to make a pocket. So make sure your decorative paper is down. Then add your glue, press it down. So now you have a pocket. Okay, we need to take this and place it in the on the page here. So you're going to add your adhesive, and on your right hand side you're going to add this flap. So line it up on the edge, press it down. So now you have a flap with a pocket. Okay, so now we're going to flip it over, and we're going to make the flaps that go to the side here. Okay, and you're going to need 5 of these. They're going to measure 5 by 6. Okay, like I said, you'll need 5 of these. Okay, then what you do, on all 5 of them, you're going to score at a half. On the 5-inch side, you're going to score at a half. Okay, and you're going to have 5 of these. Okay, on your 5-inch side, score at a half. Alright, fold them down, burnish them. Do each one of them like this. Okay, so now what you need is you need your page, add your adhesive. We're going to start on the left hand side. Okay, you'll take and line it up on the edge, making sure it's even and straight, press it down. Okay, that gives us our first flap. Okay, now we need to do another one. So now what you do is you'll take it and you'll butt it up to the edge of this one. And this works a lot better if you use glue, because you know that gives you time to move it around. Press it down. Make sure that it's even with your first one. Okay, so that gives you 2 flaps. Now you're going to take another one, do the same thing, butt it up to your edge here, press it down. Okay, you'll do that again. Add your adhesive, butt it up to the edge, press it down. Okay, then you have one more. Okay, so that gives you your flaps. So now you have 5 flaps and space here for a photo. Okay, so that is page 2 and 4. Okay, but the difference between, okay, on the back, this is page 2. Okay, so this is what you have. You have your pocket, which is on the front here, and then this flips out, and this flips out. Okay, and then on the back, you have your flaps. Okay, so here are your flaps. Okay, on page 4, your flaps are different. So I'm going to show you how I done those. Okay. So for page 4, your flaps, you're going to have one that flips up, one that flips to the right, and 3 that flip to the left. Okay, so now what you want to do, you want to put your decorative paper down first. Before you do anything, you put your decorative paper down first on page 4. Okay, you're going to need 5 flaps that are going to measure 5 by 6. So they both measure the same. Page 2 and page 4, the flaps are going to measure the same. The only difference is, on page 2, your flaps went to the left. On page 4, you have one that flips up, one to the right, and then 3 to the left. So what you're going to do is on your 6-inch side, you're going to score it a half. On your 6-inch side, score it a half. And you're going to do that for all 5 of these. Okay? So we're going to take them, burnish them down on all 5 of these. Or you can make it the same as you do page 2. You can make the waterfall the same, or the flaps on the, you know, all flap to the left. You can make them all flap to the top, to the right, to the left, to the bottom, whatever way you want to do it. Okay, so what you do first is you'll take your adhesive on your little flap here, and I place my top one down first. Okay, just kind of eyeball it so you have space on both sides here. Okay, so it's not all the way to the left, it's not all the way to the right, it's in the center. Okay, so now you take another flap, place it to the right. Okay, same thing. Don't go all the way to the top, don't go all the way to the bottom. You're going to place it in the middle here. Okay, so now what you're going to do, take another flap, put it on the left. Same thing. Don't go to the top, don't go to the bottom. But what you do want to do is you want to make sure that you line it up with this one. So it's easier if you fold this one down, put this one on top so you know that it's even, and press it down. Okay, so right now you have a top flap, right flap, left flap. Okay, so you're going to take your adhesive on your left one here, butt it up to the edge. Okay, press it down, burnish. Okay, and you have one more. Butt it up, press it down. Okay, so now you have 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 flaps. So you have 3 to the left, 1 to the right, 1 on the top. Okay? So this will be page 4. You have your pocket, and then you have your flap. Okay? And then on the back, okay, and then on the back you have your top flap, you have your right flap, and then you have your 3 left flaps. Okay? So now what you want to do, after you've made all of your pages, for the back piece here, you have a flip up and a flip down. Okay, so you're going to take an 8.5 by 11. You're going to cut it at 5.5 by 6. Okay, you can take this piece, put it in your stash, or throw it away. So now you have a 6 by 5.5. You're going to need 2 of those. Okay, so this is what you have. You have 2 pieces that are 6 by 5.5. You're going to take them on your 5.5 inch side. You're going to score it a half on both of them. Okay, fold them down, burnish them. Okay, you'll do that for both of them. And then you'll have your book. Okay, and you make sure that you have your decorative paper down. Nope, we're going to put these down first. Okay, so you're going to add your adhesive. Okay, we're going to pretend this is just plain. This has not been decorated yet. Alright, so you're going to take your adhesive, put it on your flap. Just put it in your book here. Okay, press it down, burnish it. You're going to take adhesive on the top flap here, on this little piece. You're going to put it at the top. Same thing. Make sure that you line it up here. Okay. Press it down. Alright, so now you have a top flap and a bottom flap. Okay. Then you put your decorative paper here. So that gives you a bottom flap and a top flap. Okay. So now for the front of the book, this little pocket piece here, this is what, okay, so now for your front pocket here, this pocket here, what you're going to do is you're going to take an 8.5 by 11, you're going to make it 4 3/4 by 7 1/4. Okay, so this is what it looks like. Okay, take and put these in your little pile here, not to throw away. Alright, so now you have 7 1/4 by 4 3/4. You're going to take it, score it at a half, rotate it, score it a half, rotate, score it a half. Okay, then what you're going to do is you're going to notch out your little corners here. I've already cut mine, but I had to put it back together because my camera messed up. So anyway, okay, so this is what you have. Alright, you're going to fold each score mark and burnish. Okay, then you're going to add your adhesive to all 3 little flaps. Alright, then you're going to take your book. We're going to pretend this is not decorated. Okay, so then you're going to take your pocket. You're going to place it down in, press it down. Okay. Alright, now to make this top flap here, what you're going to need is a 2.5 by 6 1/4. Okay, you're going to take it on the 2.5 inch side, you're going to score it at a half. Okay, fold it, press, burnish. Add your adhesive. And on mine here, I notched my corners. I used the We Are Memory Keepers corner chomper, and it is called, it is the stub, this one. This is the side that I used. Okay, so you're going to take it, place it in, press. So now this is what you have. You have your flap and your pocket. Okay. Okay, for the cover system, what you're going to need is you're going to need a 3.5 by 7. You're going to need 2 pieces that are 7 by 7 1/4. Okay, and these are chipboard. These 3 pieces here will be medium weight chipboard. Then you're going to need 2 pieces that are 8.5 by 11 Okay, so you have one piece, two pieces. And on the second piece here, what you'll do is you'll take your score tape and just run it right along the edge. And then for your binding piece, this piece measures 5 7/8 by 10. And then I've scored a 1/2 inch, so I'm going to have a 1/2 inch gusset. But 5 7/8 on your ruler is going to be right here. Oh, right here. It is in between the 5 3/4 and the 6 mark. I hope that's showing up here. Okay, but it's in between the 5 3/4 and the 6. It's the next mark. And this is an easy read ruler that I purchased from Walmart. I ordered it online, and I got this because I call it my dummy ruler because I can't read a ruler. So that helps me out a lot. Okay, and on your binding piece here that is 5 7/8 by 10, what you're going to do is you're going to go in at 1 1/2, 2, 2 1/2, 3, 3 1/2, 4, 4 1/2, 5, 5 1/2, 6, 6 1/2, 7, 7 1/2, 8, and 8 1/2. Okay, that gives you 1 1/2 inches on each side. So then what you're going to do is I'm going to use glue for mine today. This is the art glitter glue with the fine tip pen tip. I get mine from countrycraftcreations.com. I'll leave the link to her store below. And on this first line here, just going to add some glue. I'm going to fold it up. Burnish it down. Take this top flap here, fold it back. Okay, burnish it down. Okay, then I'm going to flip it over, fold this piece here back, and burnish it down. So that gives me my first flap. Okay, then I'm going to take my glue. I'm going to skip one and go to the next one. Okay, burnish it down. Fold my flap down. Flip it over. Pull this little flap back towards me. Burnish it down. Okay, and then I'm just going to keep going to the end here. Okay, so now this is what you have. You have your binding system with 1/2 inch gussets that's going to hold 5 pages. Okay, hope you can see that. And it has a 1 1/2 inch on each side. Okay, so next what you're going to do is you're going to take your two pieces that are 8 1/2 by 11. And the way I like to do mine is I like to get my scoreboard because it's easier to line up this way. But you're going to take your tape off. Okay, and then just press it up against the top here. And if you have tape hanging over, just fold it down. Okay, and then just kind of put it up here. Pick you a good spot, and then take your next piece and lay it right here. So what you're doing is you're butting both pieces up here at the top, and like here I'm at 6 1/2, and I'm going to go to 6 1/4 because I'm using 1/4 inch tape. Lay it down, press it down, and that way it's straight across. Okay, so now what you're going to do, and for this I like to use my Beacon Fabri-Tac glue. This stuff is really strong. But when I do this part though, I let it dry overnight to make sure that it's really good and dry. Okay, so here on the center mark here, this little middle piece, what I do now, I take my glue I'll get my Tim Holtz ruler here. Then I just add my glue. And you can use score tape, you can use, you know, the art glitter glue. You can use carpet tape. I even use carpet tape sometimes. It is double-sided. And sometimes I use that. So what I do now is I line up my, center of the ruler on that mark. And I go about 1 inch up, and then I take this piece and just lay right over top. Let's go down to 3/4. Okay, and then I just lay it right on top. Try to get it centered. Then I wiggle this and press it down. So I went 3/4 of an inch up and then pressed it down. And this extra glue here, it'll come right off. You just rub it in and it'll come right off. Okay, so then I'm going to take my next piece, the 7 by 7 1/4. I'm going to glue it down the same way. Sorry for the noise. Okay, and I'm going to leave about 1/4 of an inch between the pieces here. Smoosh it around. Get my ruler. Go up 3/4 again. And just press it down really good. See here, I'm 3/4 of an inch in. Okay, then I'm going to go to this side. I'm going to do the same thing over here. Take my 7 by 7 1/4. Sorry, my hand's all in the way there. And you'll get like little strings off of this like hot glue, but it's okay. Okay, take my ruler, do it at 3 3/4 again. 3/4, sorry. Sorry for the glare also. And then I'm going to leave about 1/4 of an inch. And just squish it. If you get out of line here, the good thing about this glue here is you have a couple of minutes to move it around. With the art glitter glue, it dries really, really quick, so I like using that on my pages. But I like using the beacon glue here, Fabri-Tac, for my binding. And then what I like to do is I take my roller and just press it down. And I'll flip it over and roll it again. Okay, and like I said, normally I let this dry overnight. It doesn't hurt it, you know, you just don't want to move it too much. So then what I do is I take my score tape and then I run score tape along the edge here and the edge of my paper here. Okay, so this is what it's going to look like. And I don't go all the way to the edges here because we're going to cut this off. So I just run my score tape all the way on the bottom of my chipboard and on my paper. And if you have glue that seeps out, like this right here, it'll be fine. And if it bothers you, just take your little pen or pick or, you know, whatever you have and just go up along the edge there and it'll come right off. Just don't, you know, poke all the way through and stab your paper. Okay, so this is what it looks like now. Okay, now what you're going to do is what I like to do is I like to take my bone folder or my stylus. I use this a lot. Just take it and run it down the side. Don't press it too hard because it'll go all the way through your paper. But I just like to make a little score mark because that helps it fold Sorry if I get out of frame. Okay. So then what I like to do is I like to go ahead and fold it up. And just kind of press it down. Do the same thing here. Just go ahead and make your fold lines. Okay, and then I like to cut it. And you can use, you know, whatever scissors you have. Okay, and you'll have like just a little notch there. That way when you fold it, this is what you have. Okay, I'll do all 4 corners and be right back. Okay, now that you have all 4 corners cut off, and if this is too much for you, you know, you can trim it down. Just make sure you leave at least an inch on each side here. Okay, so now what you do, or what I do, is I take my bone folder and I press in my edges. Okay, just press them in. Flip it over, press these in. Okay, now what I like to do, I'm going to do the top flap first. Take and peel all these off. Sometimes it works better if you use your pick. Just take and fold these down. And you can do your sides first. Sometimes I do my sides first. Sometimes I do my long pieces first. It's just, you know, whatever you prefer. Okay, so now what I like to do, take a bead of glue. Okay, and we're going to run it all the way down. Okay, so now you have a bead of glue in there. And you just take it and press it in. And then pull this down. Okay, working your way over. Okay, and then I like to get my bone folder. I keep losing it. Okay, so then you're going to flip it around. Alright, we're going to do the same thing on this side. Take all of the tape off. And then fold that piece down. Pull this one off. Okay. Take your glue. Run it along the top edge again. There you have your glue again. Okay. Take this top piece. Just pull it down. Take your bone folder. Press it down. Okay, so now for the sides, we're going to do the same thing. Pull this off. Take your glue, run it along the inside edge here. What I like to do is I just like to add a little glue here to my edges, just on down. Okay, take it, press it in, push it down. If you have glue that comes out, that's fine. It's not going to hurt anything. It's going to dry clear anyway. That's what I like about the art glitter glue. It dries clear. Okay, take this side, peel your tape off. Add your glue. Okay, press it in. Fold it down. Okay, and that's how I cover my chipboard. And just run your bone folder along the edges. And get everything nice and tight. Okay, and then I just like to smash my little pieces here in. And they fold up really well. So now you have your book is made. Okay. Now we'll move on for the inside here. Okay, now what we're going to do is we're going to put in our binding system. We're going to attach this to the book here. Alright, you're going to need two pieces that are 6 1/4 by 5 7/8. Again, your 5 7/8 mark is going to be between the 5 3/4 and the 6. I'm not sure why it's not picking up, but the 5 7/8 is between the 5 3/4 and the 6. Okay, so you're going to need two of those, 5 7/8, 6 1/4, 5 7/8, 6 1/4, and you're going to need your binding system. Okay, I went ahead and put tape on the back of mine on the 1 1/2 inch sides here. I used carpet tape, and this is what it looks like. I get mine from Walmart.com, and I like to use it on the sides because it's 1 1/4 inches or 1 1/2 inches, and then in between my little gussets here, I just use a 1/4 inch and put 2 strips on each one. Okay, so now what you're going to do is we're going to peel all this off. And then once you get all this peeled off, we're going to just eyeball center it. We're going to be careful when we do it, because when you stick it down, that's it. It's stuck. It will not come back up. So take your time doing this part. And if you want, you can use glue or whatever, you like to use, you use. But I like to use score tape and this carpet tape because it holds really, really well. Okay. So now what we're going to do is we're going to line it up. You can kind of use, if you're using the 5 pages here, use this center one to kind of line it up. And like I said, just take your time. And if it's not perfect, oh well. I don't think any crafts, anything homemade is ever perfect. So then you just take and press it all down. Okay. And I like to take my bone folder and just press down in the center. That way it'll fold up good. You're in your bone folder. Press it down as you're going, as you're bending. And take your time when you do this, because you don't want it to crack. Because when your paper cracks, it makes you so mad. So now this is what you have. Okay. And you can see here I got a little, it's not exactly, centered. I have a little more space here than what I do here, but that's fine. You can always just decorate more at the back. Or you can make this the front and decorate here. Anyway, now what you're going to do is you're going to take your 5 7/8 by 6 1/2. You're going to put them in here. And this is what you do. You just kind of, decide on where you want them. You can put them to the edge here. Or you can just, just kind of eyeball it and put it where you want it. And then you're going to do that on both sides. You just glue them down. Or use your score tape. And just glue them down. So that's what it's going to look like. Okay? And that's how we make our book binding, our book system here. We have our binding, and everything is covered. So now all we have to do is add our pages, decorate, and that's it. Okay, y'all. So now I'm going to show you how to add the pages to your book. I already have my pages decorated, and I have everything in here. So we'll just take everything out, and I like to do mine each page at a time. Okay, so what I'm going to do is this part is what I want to flap out. Okay, so I have I'll open these two pieces up. Okay, and then here is where I have my piece that attaches to the binding. Okay, so now what I like to do is I like to use glue. The reason I like to use glue is because I can move it. You know, I have just a few seconds to move it. And I like to do it, I like to start at the back and work my way to the front. And when you add your pages, you know, try to line them up as best as possible. Okay, open up your page. And this part can get a little tricky. You know, just take your time. Alright, take your little opening here. You know, I open mine up by squeezing it. And then I just place it right over top. And just slide it down. Okay, then I like to close it up. Sorry for the wiggly camera, I bumped it. Okay, I like to, you know, make sure that you don't go all the way to your score mark here. Lay it down flat and kind of line it up. Okay, and once you think you have it right, press it down. Okay, flip it. Oh, I'm sorry, I'm out of frame. Flip it over. Open this up. Press it down. And you'll see I'm not all the way at the score mark here. I think you can see, I'm not sure. Okay, that's how I like to add my pages. And then, like I said, I start from the back and work my way up. So this is my back page. This is number 5. Okay, and then I work my way up and line up each one with this one. And when you put this one in, when it lays down, make sure this lined up. Make sure your top and bottom here is lined up. Okay? Okay, so we're down to our last page, and I just wanted to do it with you as well. So you just take your glue or adhesive, whatever you're using. And let me tell you too, if you don't like this way, that's perfectly fine. You know, there are lots of ways to add your pages to your books, and you can even add your pages before you decorate them. I just like to decorate mine beforehand. You know, that way I know how fat to make my books, how wide to make my gussets, and you know, I'm you know, new at this tutorial stuff, and I haven't been crafting, you know, making books that long, but I've had a lot of people tell me, you know, they like my technique and they like how I do my tutorials and everything. So if I'm not one that you like to watch, that's fine. You know, I just like to show you how I do it. You know, people ask how I do mine, and that's what I do, is I show you how I make my books. There are lots and lots of crafters out there, and lots and lots of great ideas. This is just how I do mine. Okay, so you press it down really, really good. So there you have it. So now we have all of our pages in. And for this book, I didn't make my pages all the same size. I made 1, 3, and 5. They're the same size, and you know, they're decorated the same. Well, not decorated, but they're made the same. And then page 2 and 4, they're made the same. So far, this is what we have. We have 5 pages in our book. All right. Okay, if you have any questions, please let me know. I'll be happy to help answer any questions that I can. So thank you for watching. Have a great day. Bye.